Well, we're here at the range with the 6.8 SPC upper again, and since the first time out 3 days ago, I did take off the cheap Chinese rear sight, and I put this carry handle on it. It's an A2 carry handle that has elevation and windage, which is nice. And these are the only shots I've fired out of the rifle so far. These were the ones that were in the 4th of July video, 5 shots at 25 yards. Right now I'm set up at 50, and we'll use up the rest of these Hornady. These are the 110s, 6.8 SPC 110 VMAX load. And I think I read in the last video what they were as far as velocity. They're rated at 2550 at the muzzle. Says they're, if you sight for 200 yards, they're +2 at 100, -10 at 300. Of course, the rear drum on this carry handle is going to be calibrated for 855 green tips, so it probably won't track, but it'll give me something to start with. I'm set on the Z setting for sighting in at 25 yards right now, which that'll be pretty close here at 50. It's going to be very flat in that distance. Two things I'd like to do is I'd like to get it zeroed with this sight on this carry handle, and then I would also like to try the upper on this lower that's got the carbine buffer. It's got an H2 in it. This is normally on my 14.5-inch M forgery that has a Osprey gas system on it, but we'll try it with the 6.8 SPC with the carbine length DI system and see how that runs. I'd like to run this without the brass catcher, but I don't have a lot of 6.8 SPC brass, so I don't want to lose any, so I'm going to run my brass catcher and make sure I don't lose any, because I would be out of luck. I need to buy some. I still need to get some dies and whatnot for this cartridge. But for right now, we'll just run the factory ammo and learn about it that way. Okay, I think I got that pretty good. And remember to make sure the bottom of it is zipped up. I ran this one time with, I didn't have it zipped on the bottom and they just spit out on the ground. It was kind of funny. Didn't lose any, but still, it was, alright, so there. And the door is down in the bag, so that's good. That should catch them, and it shouldn't interfere with the feeding. But say, we'll start here at 50 yards. 1, 2, 3. Let's run 3 to see how our sighting is, since we changed this out. And see how we do. Red target down there, you'll see it on the target camera. I think this is going to be a little low. I think I'm going to change and run it like this and go like this. There we go. That should be pretty good. But, see how we do. Yeah, that's going to work all right. And I'll try a 6 o'clock hold and see how that prints. Give that a look and then adjust the sights accordingly. Then, like I said, I'd like to run some out of this carbine lower to see how it cycles on that. And one more. This is a lot like my video a few days ago of looking down the tunnel. There's not a lot of light even at 50 yards, and we did catch all 3 pieces of brass, so that's good. We're clear there, everything's safe. So I'll go down and take a look at the target. You've already seen it on the target camera. and see if I need any adjustments. Okay, that's not bad at all for just rattling those first 3 off. So looks like I am a little bit left, so we can bring that over a little bit easily in the rear. I don't think I'm going to mess with the elevation yet. We'll wait until I get it probably out to 100 and zero it for that. I kind of know where it's printing. I can move the front sight post accordingly. That shot just a little bit left, so I'll put, let's try 3 clicks of right into it. 1, 2, 3. And then go ahead and change to the carbine lower. I did that without even taking off the brass catcher. Check that out. If I can get my finger in there, that is. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and try 3 more. Be interesting to see what my perception is of how it feels, if it's any different. I don't know that the buffer will show up as much as just the collapsible stock probably be the biggest difference. So, there we go. You can definitely tell the difference, probably more just because it's lighter and less ergonomic. It did cycle, it seems. This lower has a better trigger, I think. I think this is a ACT in this one. Okay, held open. That's all good. I didn't see anything odd about that, so let's go look at that target and see how that turned out. You know, my 3 clicks of right didn't make a lot of difference. I did come a little bit lower, I think, with the carbine stock. That might just be a cheek weld thing, and of course we are in low light, so some of this variance might just be me on the sights in this light, and we'll just have to keep running with it and see how we do. But I think the carbine lower is just fine. It cycled fine. Okay, well that makes 11 shots through the rifle and it's run well so far. Let's go ahead and run the balance of these Hornady 110s while it's on the carbine lower, and then I'll switch it back and maybe shoot some of the 120s. But so far, it's run well with this small sample size. The magazine is fed well. Okay, let's see how we do here. Might change out this for this. Might be a little bit better. Okay, that's a little bit better. Let's see what we can do. having a little bit of trouble on the elevation hold. The top of the sight is blowing out the bottom of the red because there's not a lot of light. So my elevation might have changed a little bit there, but I tried to work a little harder on the windage. Let's go down and take a look. Of course, you've already seen. Okay, well, I haven't been keeping track of these shots to know which 3 those were, but they're all kind of in the same general vicinity. I think to shoot the 120s, I'll switch it back to the rifle length stock. Okay, I slipped the upper back onto the rifle setup. Now let's try some of these 120 grain Hornadies. Let's see what the specs are on this. Looks about the same because it's all stuffed down in the brass. But this says 2460 and it flies a little different. These are, if you set it for 200 yards 0, you're plus 2.2 at 100 and minus 10.5. So let's see how that compares according to there. Yeah, it doesn't change much at 300, just a little bit high at 100 and 1/2 inch more drop when you get to 300 with the 120. So the more slippery bullet makes up a little bit for some of the lost velocity. So let's try 3 of these. I didn't mark the target down there. I maybe should have since these are different, but we'll rely on the target camera to pick up which shots these are. I won't know until I edit the video and see which ones they are. Oh, that's way more comfortable. Little bit more perceived recoil. I can hear the buffer more. That last shot felt like it broke a tiny bit high, but not too bad. Whoops, wrong button, dummy. So, you saw it on the camera. I didn't, but I'll go look at it anyway. Okay, I'm not sure which ones those were, but I don't remember those 2 being up there, so when I review the video, I'll mark which ones they are so that I'll know. But like I said, this is just a new rifle, just playing with it here. I'm not going for world beater accuracy or anything. I'm just trying to see what runs in it, get some brass run through it to measure, make sure it ran on both the lowers. Well, I was considering taking a look at 100 yards, but it is dark down the tunnel today again, so I don't think it's going to help me much to do that. So I'm going to do 3 more here at 50, just to run a couple more. And then save some for a sunnier day where I can get a better look, because I'd like to set it up for the 100 yard 0 and see what that looks like so I can figure out a little bit more about how this thing's flying. I am pleased that it's running well. I wasn't real sure. You put together a new one and sometimes you wonder if it's going to be too much gas, not enough gas, but this seems to feel pretty good. When I was running it on the initial 5, I didn't run the brass catcher, and it was spitting them out about 3 to 4 o'clock, it looked like, so it's probably pretty close with the rifle buffer. I didn't run them off the carbine setup without the brass catcher, so I don't know how that one's doing. But I definitely like it better with the carry handle setup than with the inexpensive rear that I had on it. Like many carry handle uppers, it has the, I should say like all, it has the spring detent on this side. A little sneezy there. It has the spring detent on this side to make it track. Of course, depending on how the threads are on your particular base, sometimes they're tighter at the top, sometimes they're tighter at the bottom. I prefer them to be tighter at the bottom. This one tends to be tighter at the top. I took it apart, cleaned it, you know, drifted the pin out of it, tweaked it the best I could, but I might see about getting a different base for it to see if I can get one that tracks a little bit better. Because this one, when it's all the way down, it wants to do the cant to the left thing, which is very typical. Service rifles do it all the time. I do have a Delrin pin in this one that I turned on the lathe that goes through the drum adjuster hole to help keep it tracking straighter. I don't particularly care for that approach. You know, pinned rear sights are great, but you need them to be pinned accurately, you know, preferably with 3 pins so that they track nicely up and down. This one I just have that, it's a, oh, it looks almost like a golf ball spotter that I just turned out of Delrin on the lathe that I can push down in there, and it keeps the rear sight aligned well with the handle. I'm not sure that it buys you anything, it just makes me feel better to, you know, because they look goofy when they camp like that, but it's pretty common. I think, I'm not 100% sure, this one has a square casting mark on it, forge mark on it. I can't remember what forge mark that is, but this one was branded Luth-AR, but I don't know who made the forging. So, you know, these things get sourced from all over the place. So it's, you know, I might look at getting like a Compass Lake or something rear sight to put on it that's a little bit more tight on there. But it's an iron sight gun. It'll do for now. I could shoot optics on it. I just wanted to play with it with irons. I could use a little bit more light. I was having a hard time keeping the spot round, because you start to bear down on it and it wants to get flat on the bottom. There's just not enough light. I could go with the big aperture on the back and that would help, but then you lose a little bit of that ease of alignment. Okay, let's go ahead and do the last one. Held open good again. Felt pretty good about the windage alignment on most of these shots. The elevation is a little bit more tentative because that's where I'm losing the light and not seeing real well at the bottom of the round bullseye spot there. So let's go down and take a look at those 3 and see if they're up with those others. Okay, so it didn't go up with those 3. Looks, you know, we're still kind of in this area right around here, so not knowing which ones are which because I haven't spotted them up, it's a little bit hard to tell. Maybe I'll stick some spotters on there and give it one more look with a couple more rounds in where we can actually see where they're going now that I've got a few through the rifle. I do have 3 that are down here, pretty decent shots. Don't know which 3 they were, and there's 3 here that are together, but let's paste it up and try again. Well, all right, that's all patched up. We're losing more light. So let's shoot a few here. I'll shoot 4, and that'll leave me 10 for the next time out. See how we can do here. Wow, that's a tough sight picture. I struggled on every single shot to try to catch the bottom of the red. This might be ugly. Let's go take a look at it. Yeah, they're trying a little bit different setup there on the 25-yard pistol range. There's I think it's a horse stall mat. It's like a real thick rubber, and they using like some gate hardware on the top to hang it, and then just a piece on the bottom to tension it. But it's been here for, I think, a week or so, but it's funny because it makes these little puny holes through it. It's not really 100% self-healing, but it seems like it's holding up pretty good. But I don't know how many of these are rimfire and how many of them are something bigger than rimfire. But you can look here, there's a whole bunch of those little puny holes. There's a bigger hole. That was probably a pistol round of some sort, but it's kind of interesting. And then I think it's got texture on the back side. Yeah, it's like traction bumps for horses or whatever, but kind of an interesting backstop. But let's go see how we did on that 50-yard target. Of course, like I always say, my viewers see first. I see second. Looks like I was a little high there, but not bad. Two of them together. So yeah, I think once I get in some light where I can get a better hold, this thing's going to shoot just fine. Like I said, I felt pretty confident with the windage, but the elevation I was chasing a fair amount. So we'll get it out in some better light conditions and 100 yards, 200 yards, see what we can do with it. So thanks for watching my shenanigans with the 6.8 SPC. It's something I've always been curious about. It's the first time I've ever shot one, just this little bit that I've done with this one so far, and I'm happy that it's running with both the rifle buffer and the carbine buffer. Thanks again for watching. I guess we're all done.